Raise your voices, raise your glass high. Welcome to the Drink O'Clock Podcast. Let's dive. Oh, grab an old fashioned and join the fray. Raise your spirits, let the music play. From the corner pub to the dance hall floor. Drink O'Clock Podcast, we're ready for more.
We're live. I'm alive. We're alive. We're breathing. It's a beautiful thing, right? I know one of these days, something weird's going to fucking happen to me, and someone's going to come back and listen to my show and be like, that guy's dead. That guy's not alive anymore. But anyway, my name's Rob Valincius. This is the Drink O'Clock Podcast, and I have a very special guest with me, Levi Coovert. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. Now, Levi, you're a country music singer / band / writer, all the above, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, singer, songwriter, performer, whatever you want to call it. Happy to be on here.
The man of song and dance, right? I mean, at this point, if you're as long as you're not using AI for any of your shit, you do it all, right?
Yeah. Well, not all of it. We work with a producer, and but it's really fun. And you bring up a good point, with the AI right off the bat, because it's such a tragedy to kind of modern art that AI is getting into the scene. But I don't know if you want to talk about that or not.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. I'm a member. I have a yearly membership to Sono, and that's where I got my outro song from. But it's mainly because people charge my original song, dude. Not only did it cost me like $200, but he used like copyrighted stuff. So I couldn't even, like, whenever I posted a YouTube video, I couldn't even use my own song.
Oh, man.
Because he had used a melody that was copyrighted. So YouTube would pick it up and they would flag all my fucking videos. So I think there's a time and place. Yeah. Like if it's a jingle or like, I don't want to go crazy. Maybe if this gets big at some point, yeah, I'll fucking pay someone a couple grand to make me my own shit. But this lowly guy down here, can't afford to constant, like, if I have seasons. So every season I try to do a different song. So it's like, I don't have the money to be propping up, for a Grammy award winning singer to do my shit. But there's a time and a place. It's the same thing. I work in the insurance field and in our marketing department, and a lot of the girls in our marketing division hate AI. You say AI, and it's like, but I get it because it's coming for their jobs.
Yeah.
I like. Do you feel it's the same? It's the same way for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, what I like, because I see, the Suno stuff, and I think when you hear, sometimes I'll be scrolling, TikTok or whatever, there's some hilarious, like, comedies or parodies that AI can come out, and I think those are kind of cool, but the minute that you start listening to an AI song on a Spotify playlist, that's when okay, it's gone a little too far. Like, use it for comedy, use it for a joke, but don't use it to try to claim this is a real legitimate music, because it's not the same. It's not the same thing. At least that's what I would say.
Didn't the number one song on TikTok, wasn't that an AI song? Let me see. I forget. Let me see. I Run, Haven and Caitlin Aragon. Do you remember that song?
No, I don't think I do. But I've seen,
as soon as I play it, you're gonna fucking know. Hold on. You didn't hear that song?
Nah. Well, it sounds like a generic kind of pop song, but is that AI?
So a lot of people were saying it's AI, like the girl singing, and then the girl singing, there was like 2 or 3 of them that said, no, it was me.
Wow.
I don't know, dude. It could be, who knows? But it was pulled down, I think, from something because people were saying it's AI generated.
That's wild.
It's gonna, dude. I saw some videos. Elon Musk and some other guys were talking at I forget what conference it was, but they were showing the difference in video AI from 2023. So we're not even talking a full 3 years. I don't know if you saw it, where it's like the Will Smith eating pasta and he's all like, like his mouth is, and it looks like a fucked up stupid cartoon you see on Cartoon Network at like Adult Swim at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And then they show another video of AI Will Smith, and it's hard to tell the difference if that's real Will Smith or AI Will Smith.
Yeah, it's
and that's
certainly
now
getting better.
It's insane. But anyway, I digress. Let's talk about you, brother. Obviously, for my listeners, meeting you, Levi, for the first time, let's talk a little bit about growing up and what kind of drove you into the musical side of things, because I think us creatives, right? I think I'm a very tech-oriented person, so I always was big into video games and big into shit like that, and like really heavy. Like I went to design video games growing up. I went to school for it for a little bit. So what, as a kid, what got you into it?
Well, I mean, I grew up with music all around me, and it was just whatever it was. My mom, my grandma, my dad, everybody in my family loved music, and so it just kind of was a part of me from a very early age. But I remember, like, I used to watch, my dad's favorite band was U2, and he had this DVD of them performing live, and I would just watch that on repeat, and I couldn't imagine when I was a kid. People would say, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to be a rock star." Like I couldn't imagine not doing that because it just seemed so cool to me. And so that's kind of how it started. Was just as a kid, just hearing so much music and seeing so much music, and it just became a part of me.
Yeah, and so why country? I always ask. So I'm not a fan of country. I mean, there is some country songs that I like that are more. It's like the more poppy country stuff that I like. But I've also never really given it a chance. I just don't. That's just not my style of music. And I listen to a lot of different things. But what drove you towards the country side of things?
Well, I was like you. I didn't give it a chance until I was about 15. And during the pandemic, I started spending a lot of time with my grandparents, and they lived out in eastern Washington, very rural part of the state, and they loved country music. And so I just started to hear it a lot more when I was around my grandparents, and I kind of fell in love with it. And there was a storytelling aspect of country music that I really resonated with, that I thought modern pop music maybe lacks a little bit. I love, so I say my favorite music right now, it's country, and then I've always loved rock up until about you get to like the 90s sort of period, and I think modern rock is kind of lacking, and that the country has kind of filled that void for me. I love the storytelling, and I love the melodies of country music. So yeah.
There is a lot of storytelling in country music. I feel like a lot of it comes from booze-driven escapades too. I mean, a lot of it's got booze-driven escapades, which is my type of music, obviously. Drink Clock Podcast.
Yeah.
But, I guess I never really gave it a chance. See, I was always into, and you got to respect. The wifey's big into 80s music, so she got me listening to that. That's like 95% of our Spotify liked list.
Oh man.
80s music, which spans rock and pop and a little bit of everything. But you also really got to appreciate, like, I grew up in the 90s, so I'll be 40 this year. I was born in 86, so I really grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, and just 90s grunge music is just, there's nothing like it, man. Like, there's nothing like Nirvana. There's nothing like those, like, Smashing Pumpkins. Like, those, they just were dropping hit after hit. It's the same thing with movies, though. The 90s just hit after hit. Like, I forget where, it was like, Jim Carrey. It was like his list of movies that released in the 90s, and you're like, holy shit. It's like banger after banger. And then now it's like we could barely get one like really, really good hit movie a year. Everything, it's just all bullshit. Maybe I'm just a skeptic anymore. I don't know.
No, I agree, because I have some friends who are trying to become filmmakers, and I always tell them, you need to bring it back to how it was before we really, like, I was born in 2005. I grew up.
Jesus Christ. I graduated high school in 2004. I am
Right.
old. I am an ancient fucking dinosaur. Jesus.
Right.
Go ahead. Sorry.
And I grew up with, there weren't many huge movies. Like when I remember movies that went huge as a kid, it was like Frozen, which I wasn't that interested in. And
Yeah.
the first time they came out with a new Star Wars, that was huge. But then those kind of started getting bad. So all the new movies nowadays, I'm not interested. And I find myself going back and watching classic movies all the time. But where are the big blockbuster? I don't know. What happened to them? Especially comedy.
Yeah, like Avatar doesn't do it for me, bro. It's just not.
I agree.
And I'm a sci-fi person. I love that shit. But it's just, I don't know what people's obsession with that movie line is. I think I watched the first one and it looks okay.
Yeah.
But it's like a staple, throwing a bunch of movie tropes, and there's nothing like unique, and I know it's based on a book, but have you ever seen Fight Club?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is my movie twists, man? Fight Club movie twist. You're like, what the fuck? And then they show you him. I don't want to ruin it for people that haven't watched it, but they show you the fucking thing, and you're just like, holy shit, that guy is insane. But this movie's awesome. Yeah,
and even just creativity in movies. Like, where are the creative plots? I feel like every movie now is just, now I sound like I sound like an old head, but I feel like every movie now is like the same. Like, hero has to solve a bad guy or something. It's just like, come up with some more creativity. That's what I say.
Well, that, and we've gotten very, they weren't afraid to push the boundaries in the 90s and 2000s, right? Now it's like, all right, every movie, you have to have a white person, a black person, a Chinese person, a trans, a lesbian. Like, all of those people have to be in the movie. So when you come up with the original concept, I'm not saying that's not okay, but it's all movies.
Right.
And it's like, well, what if the story is telling about a group of black guys? You're going to cast a random white person or Asian person just because you need them in the movie? Why wouldn't you just have it so that it stays true to its original script, right? It's to put it in music terms, right? It's like if you're supposed to sing a certain melody, but you want a different melody in its place just to have it there, but it throws the whole tune off of the song, and that happens all the time, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, I'll be vibing. I'm a beat person, so it's like I grew up enjoying like rap to a certain degree. I hate it now, but a beat would get me. Lil Wayne was really good with that. Like, he'd have a beat that would just hook you. And there was never a time where I feel like in his songs where there'd just be a random Kanye was known for that. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it would fail really bad.
Yeah, he has some he's creative. I'll give him that. Kanye, very creative, but he has some weird songs.
Some weird songs, some weird shit that he throws in, and it just throws the whole vibe of the song up. But it's the same concept. It's like, you gotta stay true to what you envision in your head or what you wrote as the script and things. Like, you can make changes, but don't just do it to appease people, right? And what's your approach when you're sitting down? I always like to ask, like, what's your approach to writing music? Like, do you have your favorite desk, your favorite chair? Do you have to be out in nature? Like, what's your process look like?
Yeah, it does. Actually, nature can help a lot. Right now, oftentimes when I'm writing songs, I do it on my balcony. I'll just go out in the balcony, and we have a little view of like a park. So kind of just sitting out there with my guitar, kind of just strumming lightly. And that's a lot of times when I'm kind of able to be the most creative, is kind of outdoors. And yeah, I mean, usually it's a very simple process that starts with just find a melody that sticks. Find a rhythm or a melody that can just hook you. And once I'm hooked on something, then I kind of know, okay, maybe this will work. And sometimes it comes to me right away, and sometimes it comes to me when I'm not even trying to think of one. And sometimes I'll go like weeks and weeks without thinking of anything good. And that's when just bad idea, throw it in the scrap bin, find a new idea. But yeah, it's all about, I believe you either have to have a groove that just hooks you right away, or a really, really catchy melody. And if you don't have one of those two things, the song is probably not going to be very good.
Yeah, and you got to have something that's relatable, too. I think that is important, right? I think that's why a lot of the rap these days is like, it's not good, because they're singing about, being rich and famous, and it's like,
I can't
okay,
really-
that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, but nobody can relate to that. And I think that's why you've seen a lot more country music start to take off too, because you don't have many country singers that's singing about that, right? They're singing about breakups. They're singing about getting drunk and having fun. They're singing about four-wheeling. They're singing about and talking about things that are relatable to people, especially depending on where you are, right? Like, you know, if you're in the South and people ride four-wheelers all the time or dirt bikes or whatever, they're appealing to people. Whereas you have the current rap and some pop, and it's like, outside of the catchy beats, they don't hook you emotionally.
Right. It's like one of my favorite groups is the Zac Brown Band, and they, you know, what's their big song? Chicken Fried. It's just about having a barbecue. You know what I mean? It's like everyone can relate to that. Everyone can relate to Chicken Fried. Everyone can relate to, you know, wanting to go down to the beach for a day. Like, that sort of stuff is relatable. Whereas, yeah, you're right. A lot of the kind of, you know, you tune into top 40 radio, and it's kind of a lot of, you know, money, sex, hookups, and that's not as relatable, I think, for people, especially nowadays. So I don't know. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, the world's different now than it was, you know. But I think everyone's looking for a little nostalgia anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you see a lot of things starting to come back a little bit. Whether that's good or bad, right? Some of it's not good, but some of it, I do think, you know, I think as a society, you try to move on from certain things thinking you're better than it. But at the same time, it's like, what happened to comedy, right? It's like, it's so hard to be a comedian. It's gotten a little easier, but I feel like I feel bad for them, because you say one thing and everyone's trying to cancel you. And it's just like, you're a comedian. Like, if I go to a comedy show and, you know, some guy was like, you're a fat short guy, and I wouldn't be upset. He's telling the truth, but two, if he's working it into a joke, I'm laughing, because it's a comedy show. That's what you expect. And I think people got to get thicker skin. It's changing a little bit. We're going a little bit back to the way it was. We got a long way to go, though, man. The PC stuff drives me nuts.
Yeah, I do think we're getting a little better, because I watch Shane Gillis, and I think sometimes some of those jokes that he'll say, like, I don't know if he would have made it 5 years ago. He might have been canceled, but I'm glad that we still have some funny comedians, but not a whole lot. I don't know.
Shane pushes the limits. We're Bill Burr fans. We love Bill Burr.
Yeah.
You know, if you've never seen him live, he's fucking great. He definitely has. Somehow he always works a Nazi joke in, which the way he does it is always just great. It's just certain comedians, they know how to play a crowd. Anthony Jeselnik is the wifey's favorite comedian, because he tells the most ridiculous deadpan. Like, he's got what type of comedy is he, babe?
Dark humor.
It's like dark humor. I forget. There's a certain like it's like he says shit to get reactions out of people. Like, he'll tell dead baby jokes. He talks about how much he hates kids. Like, he's just like that type of person, and people go, what? And then you know who goes to see him because they know his comedy, because we're all laughing, right? It's a joke. But yeah, I don't know. I think the world needs to heal a little bit and stop, you know, pretending like they got to stick up their ass. But
and the ability to laugh together, for people to come together and laugh, that is such a powerful, like, community building experience. You know, you can relate it right back to music. Whereas, like, when you have people in the same room, 100 people in the same room who probably all came from different places, different places they were born, different places they work at, different places they live, but they're all laughing at the same jokes, or they're all enjoying the same movie, or they're all singing along to the same song. That's how you can build that community and really kind of show, like, hey, we're actually not that different, even though we all came from different walks of life. And so I agree. I mean, you need as a society things to bring us together like that. And, you know, it feels like there has been a small renaissance kind of driving that back, but it's still, you're right. We're not near, like, I wish I was born 20 years before I had been, so I could have experienced a little more of that, because I feel like, I grew up in such a time when it's more like, you believe this, you believe that, and you do separate things. And I don't think that's right. I don't think that makes sense for society.
Yeah, I mean, look, my generation, I think, is a dying breed, right? Because we grew up when there really wasn't internet. Like, not everybody had it.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard to believe, but yeah, that was a thing. But then we also grew into it. Like, we grew into having a cell phone that eventually, like, I could text people and then eventually I could go online with it. And that was a big thing. And then I could use apps with it. And then now it's basically a fucking supercomputer in your pocket. You know, there was a time where no one had cell phones and you just went out and you played basketball. I played a ton of basketball, played a ton of football. You know, we skateboarded. Like, you hung out with your friends and you just did shit. And then, you know, I feel like that's kind of gone away a little bit, right? But, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's part of, you know, technology becoming more and more pertinent in our lives, you know?
But we need to bring that. I mean, I think I'm so grateful that my parents didn't give me a phone until my 15th birthday, because I got a semi-normal childhood, at least. You know, I like to say, like, I think part of the reason why I am so creative today is because I got to be creative as a child. I was outside. I had a huge imagination, and I think that really helped and helps me now, to have had that kind of background. And I just think, like, I look at kids now getting phones when they're 8 years old, and I can't believe, like, how, I don't know. I feel like they're missing out on something, like an element of life that I still feel a little bit lucky that I got to have a little bit of that. So
It was cool. I hated it at the time. You know, but I also didn't know what today would be like, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I think you look back and I'm like, I really enjoyed being able to, you could just do things. And, like, your parents would be like, hey, be home by dinner or you're getting your ass whooped. You know, like, there was no text message or call wherever you were. And, like, if I had to make an urgent call, I had to go to a payphone, which when I was growing up still kind of, I mean, it existed, but cell phones were starting to get bigger and bigger, right? So, like, you know, you have more people using it, but it was a weird time, but it was cool. So it's a shame people now don't get to experience that. I mean, maybe at some point in the future there will be a renaissance of, hey, leave your fucking phone at home and just hang out. You know, I
think there will be.
But
I feel like people are starting to kind of wake up and kind of see, like, we got all this AI junk and we got all this, like, you know, I don't know. I think we will kind of get to that point. I think people are just gonna have to choose. Are we gonna be slaves to our technology and to the AI, or are we going to live like normal human beings? And I think we're gonna choose option number two, live like normal human beings. But we'll see how it goes.
well, I mean, think about it, man. Like, you know, obviously, have you perform in different places, right? How many times have you seen where all these people are just staring at you perform? Most of the time, it's people with their phones up, recording it. They're not in the moment.
Yeah,
And
that's true. I don't think I've performed a single time when there wasn't at least somebody filming me, which I guess that's kind of cool. But then there's also somebody else just sitting in the background scrolling, not even paying attention. So, it's a double-edged sword. It's like, well, the phones are cool. You help, I can share on social media. I can promote myself better. People can, send videos of me, but then also it's a big distraction. And so, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta just be present, man. There's certain things, and I'm guilty of it. You know, I'm a doom scroller, and but I think sometimes, like, it's weird. I always tell people I want to get a Tesla because I want it to drive me to work, and I bet you I would. And I've been driving the same route to work for 11 years. I bet you that if I had a Tesla driving me, I would notice shit that I've never noticed before because I wouldn't be just watching my hands and just watching to make sure that the guy from Jersey is not going to knock me off the road. Jersey drivers are the worst. I'll say that again and again.
Oh, man.
But I would be less connected, because that's a lot of the driving itself is a stressor, and you've got to always be paying attention. So, can you ever fully trust an AI car?
I don't know if I would.
Maybe. My dad's like, why the hell would you trust that car with your life? I'm like, I mean, it's probably going to drive more safer than the way I drive. I'm from Philly, man. We don't, we're not like the, easy, the most laid back of drivers. We'll say that. Now listen, you talked a little bit about, promoting yourself. You released your first record independently last spring. What did that process teach you about yourself? Because I know, when you're independent, you don't have a label, and you're kind of doing everything all on your own. There's a lot that goes into it because not only are you the talent, but you're also the marketer and just about everything else.
Yeah, it's a lot of work that goes into it, and it was a lot for me to kind of, I used to want to do everything on my own, and I've always kind of been a person like that, but I kind of had to realize I I can't do everything on my own. I can't. And so I had to kind of find people to help me, So I found a producer to help me out, and I found people who are willing to help promote me, and that's been great. But what I wasn't able to find was a solid label. And I've reached out to labels, and I've reached out to kind of songwriting agencies, and there have been some interest, but it was never able to kind of work a deal out between me and any other group. And part of that was because some of the deals that were being offered didn't seem super fair to me, and other times there was just things that wasn't we weren't able to work things out. And so at the end of the day, I decided I'm going to put it out independently, and we're just going to see what happens. And there's a lot of stress that can come with that. You kind of have to just be okay with, if it blows up, it blows up. If it flops, and whatever happens in between happens in between. And so I feel lucky that people have heard it, and people have listened to it, and I feel lucky that because I've been able to put music out, it's helped me to land more opportunities to perform at different places. And I also understand I have a long, long way to continue to grow and to build. So I thought it was a good starting point, though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, it's not easy to kind of get yourself out there and do what you need to do. But I'll tell you this, and I think it transcends, even podcasting, because I've been doing this for like almost 3.5 years. Don't pay attention to the numbers.
Yeah.
And I was a slave the first year because that's just who I am. I'm a numbers guy, and I'm like, okay, no one downloaded today. What do I need to do? How do I need? And I think the moment I stopped caring about the numbers is when my podcast started to do way better,
Right.
organically. And I think the same thing for you goes. I would not just be a slave to the numbers. Just let it come, because when it comes, it's a slow build, right? I started out and no one knew what my show was, and then I had a couple people that started to listen after year 1, and then year 2 I had more people start to listen regularly, right? And now in year 3 I got even more people that are starting to listen. Now I'm pushing year 4, and it's just a slow climb. And I think if you stick with it, you'll be fine. Just don't. The numbers can sometimes. One, it can skew you, right? What if you have? What if you're a one-hit wonder? Like, look at all the one-hit wonders out there, right? That had one good song and then they couldn't make anything else. I think if you just focus on your music and don't worry about the numbers, they'll come.
Yeah, and
that's always my advice to people.
What I had to realize as well, because I was putting out a lot of music before. I would put out singles and whatever, and it wouldn't get a whole lot of traction. And I finally just realized this is not working. Like putting music onto Spotify and then just hoping people listen, that's not working. What I realize is, instead of worrying about the Spotify, like, yeah, I'm going to put music on Spotify, but the thing that I need to focus on right now is becoming a great performer. And so that's when I said I'm going to start performing live. I'm going to email every restaurant in town and say, hey, can I perform at this? Can I perform at your bar? Can I perform at your restaurant? Can I perform at the barbecue? Can I perform at the farmer's market? And that's how I really feel like I've improved and actually started to find people who are interested and kind of find fans, is by actually going out there and just playing live and not really worrying about the streaming or the YouTube numbers, whatever. Like you said, I think those will come eventually over time. But sitting at home, like twiddling my thumbs, like, man, I didn't get enough streams today. That wasn't going to move me anywhere. You're not going to go up in the world by doing that.
Yeah, no, it probably doesn't help. You're young.
Yeah.
And I think that, one, is a good thing, because you got plenty of life ahead of you. It's a beautiful thing to be young. But in what you're trying to do right now, I think it hurts you.
Yeah.
Because, you're making these calls, and I'd imagine people probably don't take you as serious.
Well, they've started to, but you once you have, at first it was really hard to find people to let me come play music, because it was just like, this kid. And then I got a couple of places, and I got some good videos of myself kind of performing live. And now that I have the videos, I can kind of show them, and that kind of proves to them, hey, okay, he knows what he's doing. He can play a 2-hour set and not lose the crowd or whatever. So that has helped me a lot. is getting some good high quality live videos. So it's starting to get easier to book gigs, but it's still, it's again, yeah, you get a lot of people who just don't even respond, and that's, again, you kind of have to be okay with it. Like, look, I don't take it personally. I understand it all. It's all kind of a business at the end of the day, but
Yeah.
it's kind of how you have to handle it. If you take it personally, you'll give up within a week.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you're a business,
Yeah,
right? So I think for you, the people that don't answer, reach out back to them again in a month.
yeah,
Maybe they just weren't paying attention to their email.
yeah.
I mean, there's a
And that
lot. There's a
happens.
lot that. Yeah, there's a lot that can go into that. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself, But I would definitely, in my world, I work in the insurance world. I mean, a lot of our guys are reaching out to people 10, 15 times, leaving them messages until they tell them, either, okay, let's talk, or go fuck yourself. You literally.
Yeah,
So I think if you're persistent in what you do, you'll get it, dude. You'll book more and more places. You just have to stick with it.
yeah.
The moment you become lackadaisical, that's when it's not gonna help you in any way.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, I just tell myself, just get the next one, get the next one, get the next one, and don't worry about every yes is worth 100 no's in my book. And so, like, if I can
Yeah.
just get the next gig, the next gig, the next gig, that's all it is for me. It's just go find one more, go find one more, and don't worry about the 10 people who didn't respond or whatever. Just go find another one, and because there's always somebody who's going to say yes, which is the nice thing. But yeah, it can be. Sometimes it can be a little bit draining, but you just, you shrug it off and say, look, this is what I want to do. This is what I find joy doing. And so I'm not going to let any setbacks like ruin that.
Yeah, building a brand's not easy, man. Especially if you're building it from the ground up on your own. So, it takes a lot of time. I mean, I'm sure you got a decent backing behind you, right? Friends, family, all that stuff. It sounds like you get a good head on your shoulder. So I'm sure, with that comes, you at least have people that are on your side,
Yeah, and the friends and family is huge, and having people who I know will support me, that is massive. And it wasn't always the case, but as my music has gotten better, I think my songwriting, my performances have gotten a little bit better. I've started to, I think, win over some of the friends and family who might have doubted me at first. And that has also been huge. Like, okay, the people who know me believe in me. And I think that matters a lot. Like, if nobody believes in you, that would be a lot worse of a feeling. But the fact that the people who used to tell me, hey, dude, I think you need to get better at this, or now they've kind of started to say, okay, you are improving, you are getting better, and now they can see it. And that helps me see it as well, to see the growth. Because yeah, you're right. Like, you start building, it's a slow climb, but once you start to see the growth, it kind of changes the way you think about it. Because then all of a sudden it's like, okay, there is a mountain and I am climbing it. And whether or not you're at the top, bottom, minimum, wherever it is, like, you're going up. And that's what you need. If you're not going up, you're not really, what are you doing?
Yeah, if you're staying flat, man, then that's not a good thing.
Right.
But sometimes you'll have setbacks too. It's not always gonna be this. It might be this to
It's a
get
lot of-
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a slow climb, and I think as you learn, you get better able, and as you age, right, you're gonna fall down, and it's as you get back up, you're like, all right, don't do that again. All right, I'll stay away from that, and I'll continue on. But you got a new single, "Let the Good Times Flow." So talk to me a little bit. It's got a bit of an uplifting feel to it. What type of headspace were you in when you wrote it, and what was that process like for it?
Yeah, I wrote "Let the Good Times Flow" after actually a rough week. So I in addition to being a musician, I work in journalism, and I
Okay.
work for our local newspaper. That definitely has helped me, survive, pay the bills, everything. And
Been there, brother.
this was happening after a week of quite a bit of unrest, because there was the Charlie Kirk murder had happened recently. So we had protests happening in our town, and there was a general feeling that people were not feeling great about where we were at as a country, as a town. Anyway, it just felt like
Yeah.
people were down. And so I thought, you know what I need to do? I need to write a song that's gonna bring back the good vibes. And so that's why I wrote Let the Good Times Flow, because I was just thinking like, man, we need songs that are going to energize us and kind of make people happy and make us forget about what had been a long week. And so for me, that was all it was. It was I'd had a long week and I needed a song that was going to make me forget about it. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
So how do you want people to feel when they hear this track for the first time? Like what do you want the general public to feel when they listen to Let the Good Times Flow?
I want people to hear the song and think, I need to go have a great night. Whether it's tonight or tomorrow or in the weekend, like I want people to hear the song and think, I need to go have a good night.
And those are the type of songs you need to listen to.
Yeah.
None of that fucking depressing shit, man.
Right. I do not
time and place.
write depressing songs. Time
and place for the depressing stuff.
Yeah. There is a time and place, and I'm sure there will be a time in my life when that is the kind of thing that I'm writing, because I feel like we all go through peaks and valleys in life, you know, between the good and bad. But right now, you know, I'm in a good mental space. I'm having fun. So I'm going to write songs like that. I don't need to write. It would be inauthentic for me to write a sad song right now because I'm not sad right now, you know? So
yeah. Hey, look, as a creative, man, the brain's going to flow. The creativity's going to be somewhere, right? So I'm sure at some point you'll be depressed. We all get there. Right. And who knows what's going to come out of you then.
Yeah.
Could be a banger.
Could be
right?
a banger.
It could be a banger.
But you have to write songs that are the most authentic. Like this is when I was a kid, I would try to write songs because I thought, or even when I was not even a kid, a few years ago, I would try to write songs because I would think, oh, people like songs about X, so I'm going to write a song about X. People like songs about Y, so I'm going to write a song about this. And those never felt as good because it was always me trying to write a version of a song that had already been written. And it wasn't really me writing from the heart and from my own, like you have to write what's authentic to you or else people will see right through it. If I tried to write a breakup song, like that wouldn't work because I haven't gone through a breakup in 4 or 5 years. So it wouldn't feel right. People would see through it. They would hear it and they'd say, I don't think that guy actually knows what he's talking about. Yeah. At the same time, somebody else might write a great breakup song because they just went through a break. Like it has to mean something to you. If it doesn't, people will see through it and they won't care.
Yeah, dude, that's why when I doing this show, it's the same thing, right? I try to be as authentic as possible.
Yeah.
I've had some duds of guests, and I'm not going to say names. I've had to plow through it. But I always try to stay true to me, and my show is a reflection of that. And I always tell people, look, this is a safe space for you. You could talk about what you do. You could talk about, like, I'm not going to come at you. This isn't a gotcha show. I'm not going to be like, that's weird. You know, unless you want me to tell you that's weird, then I got you, you know? But the point of this show was I wanted a safe space for myself to be able to talk to people. And whether that's a conversation or even if we disagree, a place where people can just talk about it and not yell at each other or hate each other for it. Because when I grew up, especially if you're a dude, we would get into a fist fight and then we were best friends. Right. That's kind of what we did then, you know? But if you had a disagreement, you could talk to somebody about it and have a argument and then you'd be good. Right. And it wasn't this like craziness today where it's like you have an argument, then you're canceled, and then, you know, you get a mob of people to hate you. It's like very calculated now. Right. You know, like if you want to destroy someone, you could do it pretty easy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So like what I try to put out there, it's I try to be as positive as possible. I try to do it, you know, as much of an entertaining job as I can as a host, and I try to make my show reflect that. And it sounds like you do the same thing with your music. So I think that there's something to that, and because if you're fake, people can typically sense fake.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to do something I don't want to do, and I'll typically, I'm at the age where I'll just tell you I don't want to do it, you know, or and there's been plenty of times. I mean, the wifey's behind here; she could probably attest to that.
Yeah, but you're right. Being who you are is so important, and I think there are a lot of people now maybe who are scared to be who they are for whatever reason, and maybe, you know, you could blame some of that on kind of social media. But no, I agree. And you're doing a great job, by the way. I mean, I can tell you are who you are. And I love that. I appreciate that. It's like one of my favorite musicians, Kenny Chesney. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's
Oh
all
yeah.
about that brand as well. It's like be positive, be yourself, be authentically you, and don't give a shit about about what the rest of the world has to say, because there is a lot of negativity, but at the end of the day, if you can be positive, if I can be positive, if this community of people can be positive, then that's what it takes.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, the wifey. How long ago was that, babe, that you worked for Kenny Chesney?
It was before COVID,
It's like 2017, 2018.
probably 18, 19. It's
Yeah.
been multiple years.
The wifey actually used to go to like Kenny loves blondes, so the
Really?
wifey's a blonde, and she would work. What company was it?
It was just it was,
Twisted Tea.
no, it was his rum.
His rum. He owns a rum.
Right, right.
Kenny Chesney's loaded.
Yeah.
You
Oh, I'm sure.
know. But she would work for
Something Bay.
Something Bay. She would work for his rum brand, and they would like go out on stage and fucking throw T-shirts to people, and
Oh, that's
she
awesome.
got to meet him and be backstage and stuff like that. And because he would have a big show in Jersey.
Right.
I always forget what it was, a big country show, and you know,
Mine was at Lincoln Financial.
she did it at Lincoln Financial, but they would be in Jersey too a lot. I forget what the hell what show that was. That's a big country show. My buddies would go. But yeah, Kenny's loaded. Kenny's he's living the good life.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But yeah, I think authenticity is that part of the convo. Authenticity is important, people. Stop being
Yeah.
fake bitches, all right? And don't hide behind, it's always the people online that don't have a profile picture. It's a cartoon or some dumb shit, and they're the people
Yeah.
that hide. And look, man, I've been called it all on my YouTube videos. You're fat, you're old, you're stupid, whatever, man. I don't let that shit bother me because I don't give a shit. People can say whatever they want. But, the internet is a wild, wild west. That, I don't think they'll ever solve that because it's always been that way. But I'm sure you can attest, especially if you're posting videos and socials
Yeah.
and not
Yeah,
nice. a
and
lot of people.
you'll get the hate comments, and sometimes it's AI bots, and sometimes it's I'm sure it's a real person, and you just kind of just have to shrug your shoulders and say, hey, look, if this person is having such a bad day that they felt the need to, comment, oh, this guy, his music sucks or whatever. I don't get that too often, luckily, but if someone's having
Once you get big, you will.
Yeah, no,
Once you get big,
I'm
you'll have a
sure.
hater. They're all haters.
They're all
dude.
haters, but
All
if
of
you're
them.
having such a bad day or such a bad life that you have to be a hater, it's like I feel bad for that. I feel bad for them, and I just kind of say a prayer, say, hey, I hope that person has a good day, and then I move on with it, because you really cannot let that stuff affect you, or else, yeah, it's like I've heard horror stories. I've heard people who, they've been bullied to suicide from online people just being hateful, and that sucks.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a part of what I'm trying to build into my own brand. Throwing it back to what you said about building a brand, I would love for my brand to be a brand of just uplifting positivity. That's what I want, because I want people to have a place to just be positive and be uplifting and not have to really worry about what other people think or what other people have to say.
And that's good, man. I think you're doing a great job. I think you just got to stick with it, and that is a good message. And it's weird because you're young. I think in the world we live in, there's a lot of people that are your age that are just vain, and they don't give a shit about anything except clout and getting clicks and getting likes.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool to have someone that thinks like an old soul, like you do. And maybe your generation, there's more people like you, and there's hope. Because you're the future, brother. We need you guys to be more positive like you, and not the ass clappers that are just trying to get fucking likes on TikTok and make money off of selling T-shirts and dumb. Like, we need people with uplifting ideals like that. So I do like what you're doing. Speaking of what you're doing, 48 states and a Canada tour. Now you're planning it, right? Fully self-funded, self-managed. And you're just going to do it within 120 days. So you got to talk to me. What's what the logistics look like on that? How the hell are you just gonna get in the RV and hope you find gas money, or what's the process like that?
Yeah, well, we're saving our money right now. I'm saving up pretty much everything I have, and the plan is I'm gonna drive around the whole country, and it's gonna be the most craziest. It's the craziest idea I've ever had, and I told my friends, I think you're gonna think I'm crazy. You're gonna think I'm nuts for doing this, but they all said, Levi, I think you need to do this, and I agree. And so the way it works, I find a city that seems convenient to visit, and then I just email every single vendor, restaurant, bar, barbecue, public library, public park, anywhere I can find, and just say, hey, there's a deal. I'm coming to every state. I'm making a stop in your city. I would love to play for a couple hours for a tip jar, free meal, whatever you can afford to pay me. I will do it. And the goal is hopefully kind of prove that this is possible. Prove that an independent, fully kind of self-funded musician. Because I told my parents, I do not want your dime. This is something I would like to do. It's something that I want. I have to do it myself, or else I'm not going to feel right. Like, it has to be me, and they understand it. And so it's gonna be ambitious, but it's gonna be, hopefully it'll be a memory I'll always have, and hopefully it'll be something that I can kind of prove. Yeah, you can do this as a independent musician, and it doesn't have to be a big production. It doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar funded stage production. It can just be a guy having a good time singing at bars to people who are interested in listening to some country music. Like, it can be
Yeah.
that simple.
And I like it, dude, because I'll tell you what, when you hit your 30s and you hit your 40s, it's not going to be something you could typically. Now, you could be huge, right? And then you could do it on someone else's dollar. But, if this eventually changes and you change your mind, you don't do music or you do something different in music, you could say you did it.
Right.
Because it gets harder as you get older, right? Bills pile up. You might have a wife. You might have kids.
Right.
Things anchor you. And then you're not able to do something as ambitious as this. So it's do it now while you can and say fuck it. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, you tried.
Right. And that's what people
Right?
say, are you worried that it's going to fail? And I tell them, in my eyes, even if I fail, I come home with a memory I'll never forget. I come home with probably the best story I can ever tell to my kids, my grandkids, whatever. And I come home with the knowledge that, hey, it didn't work out and maybe I need to pivot, but it is what it is, And so I don't see that as a failure. Like, I don't think whatever happens, I think it will still be a success in that way, because at the end of the day, experience is success.
So are you in the Washington area?
Yeah.
Okay, so I interviewed an author. She wrote a book. Okay. She was, I want to say she was in her late 50s, early 60s. And with her husband, they rode a tandem fucking bicycle.
Wow.
From Washington, your Washington,
Yeah.
to Washington, D.C.
That is nuts.
And they had this little cart thing that attached to the tandem bicycle. And they had this fully planned out way of where they're going to stop, how much time they're going to spend. And they did it. Now, her husband passed away a little bit ago, and, it sucked. They were, she loved him, and there was a lot, they did a lot together. But I thought that was an incredible, uplifting story where, hey, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah.
If you want to do something crazy, like, I know I just kind of said, hey, it gets harder, but it depends on who you spend your life with too, man.
Right.
You might find a wife that's like, hey, fuck it. You like music? I like music. Let's tour the country again,
right.
And maybe do it again. So it doesn't matter how old you are. You can still do some shit, and they did it. I mean, they went through some shit, They definitely they were yelling at each other. But they went through it, and they eventually, they blew a tire. They a bunch of shit happened, but they did it. And she said she wouldn't do it again, but she said it was one of the coolest experiences of her entire life, and she will always, till the end of her time, remember that whole trip like it was yesterday. So, and that, I think that matters.
Yeah, and just doing things to kind of spice your life up and make it interesting and make it, escape that kind of mundane reality can be good. So I would encourage anybody, if you are young, old, whatever, if you have a dream, do what I'm doing. Go follow your dream. Obviously, be smart about it. But really, I mean, life's too short not to take a shot, at something that will be really really cool and really memorable, and possibly, we'll see. Maybe this stuff. Maybe I can gain some traction. Find myself on the news somehow, and next thing I know, wake up and I really can kind of make music a full time thing, and maybe not. I don't know what the world has in store for me. I don't know what God has in store for my life, but I'm excited to find out. But I figure if I don't try, I'll never know.
So, what excites you the most about this trip, and what do you think is going to scare you a bit?
Well, the scariest part for sure is the idea of. I think it'll probably be a lot of either camping or sleeping in my car, which I'm ready for it, but that does kind of, that's something I'm gonna have to mentally be prepared to do, because I realize,
Yeah.
like, I'm not paying for a bed at night. It's there's no way I'm able to afford that.
There's no budget. There's no budget for that.
Right.
Here.
That's not in the budget. Maybe once a week I find a really, really cheap motel and give my back some rest. But that's about as much as I'll be able to afford. It's going to be a lot of car and tent nights, which I'm okay with. I was a Boy Scout. I love that. So I'll be okay. But that kind of scares me a bit. As far as the excitement, I'm just excited to see all the people who I'll be performing to, because so far I've only performed in Washington State, right? And it's a great community in Washington State. I love Washington, and I've been around to different areas of the country before, though, and I'd like to kind of experience the rest of the country and the rest of this beautiful. I mean, I read somewhere, if you want to love the United States, drive across it. Like, that's the best way to appreciate this place that we live. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm excited to see how are different crowds going to enjoy my music. I think my music would play really well in the South. I've never performed in the South before, but I think it would play really well in a place like Florida or Alabama or Georgia. And so I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to kind of see the difference between what's a cafe crowd versus a bar crowd versus a barbecue crowd versus a, music festival. Like, there's different sorts of places I'll be performing. So I'm excited to just kind of see what crowds are going to work better, what crowds are going to work less. So I think that's really going to be kind of a cool thing, because I can kind of learn. I'm basically learning on the job here, like going out and really kind of getting the most practical experience I can get to figure out how am I going to build a fan base from this.
Yeah. Have you logistically, are you working on that now? Like, planned out, the cities you're going to hit, or are you just going to wing it?
We've planned out about the first, I say we, I mostly just me. I've planned out about the first 10 states where we'll be going, and then I'm kind of going in phases. So I started with Washington, Idaho, Montana, the Dakotas, working down to Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, and then it's kind of just going to go from there. And so every time I book one city, then I start emailing the next city, and then I book the next city and I start emailing the next city, and kind of just going from there. And so I kind of have an idea of where I want the map to go, of how I want to get all around, but I'm obviously very flexible and kind of have to base it off of who says yes, and where I can find places to play. So worst case scenario, I will find a place in every state, though, whether it has to be out of the way or not. But that's I mean, I'm confident I can do it. So.
Well, hey, dude, if by the time you make it over here to Philly, man, you let me know. I'll come check you out. You have to let me know. I'll throw some cash in the tip bin for you.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, of course, man. So now you're documenting the entire thing on social media. How are you gonna balance that out? Do you have someone coming with you that's kind of gonna be your social media person? Like, how's that gonna function?
There will be people at different parts. For a lot of it, though, it will just be me. But there's people around the country that I'll be spending maybe a week with one person, a week with a friend, a week with my mom, a week with my dad. But there will be a lot of it with it's just myself out there. The plan is I'm just gonna film everything. I got a GoPro, I got my phone, I got a new iPhone with a great new camera on it. So I figure I'm just gonna film everything I can. And for every day I'm out there, I'll probably want to post maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8, so like quite a few short form, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and just put it out and hope people will see it and build. And I'll kind of explain it like, hey, I'm 21 years old. I'm driving around the country, chasing a dream, following this passion of mine. I'd love for you to follow along the way. And that's kind of what my pitch will be on social media is, hey, check me out. Maybe you'll find some inspiration from me. Maybe you'll think I'm funny. I don't know. And so it'll be some of my performance. I'll post clips of my performances, but I'll also be just kind of documenting my life, and here's what it looks like. Here's what driving 5 hours looks like. Here's this, cool, I don't know, whatever cool things I see, do, or whatever. I'll be documenting,
Yeah.
kind of posting it to kind of make it. It'll be an adventure, and I want people to feel like they can come with me on this adventure.
Dude, and people love that, man. I don't know. Did you see the viral TikTok guy sailing with Phoenix?
I don't know
About
if I've seen him, but I've seen one guy on TikTok who like rode himself all the way across Lake Michigan or something. That was cool.
This guy quit his job, liquidated his 401k, and bought a sailboat, and he sailed from Oregon to Hawaii.
Wow.
With his cat named Phoenix. You should check him out.
Yeah.
He documented it, got huge, went viral. By the time he got to Hawaii, he had people were like waiting for him and cheering and freaking out. And a company bought a brand new sailboat for him, and he stayed there for a while. And then I think he's going somewhere else now. But it was a whole thing, and I think people love a good story, right? And I know it comes back to this, but they love a relatable story, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to fucking quit their job and go do something they want to do, and this guy did it, so everyone was invested. And I think there's a lot of artists that are probably in your shoes that maybe wish they would have did that or want to do that. Maybe you'll kind of open it up, and maybe people will see your story, and it'll get big organically that way too,
Yeah, and that's kind of it. Like, tell a story about this crazy adventure that I'm about to take, and hopefully it will resonate. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, it'll at least resonate with me and my friends and my family. So either way, I feel excited about it.
That's awesome, man. Now, when does this start? You said you're going to go for 120 days, right? And in your eyes, what would make this, regardless of the numbers, a success?
Well, it starts in June, is when it'll kick off. And
cool.
In my eyes, it's a success. If I come home alive and happy, it's a success. Like that.
As long as you're breathing, right? That's what matters. That's a good one. That's a good success
how my
story.
parents feel about that as well. Because, like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, I will come home, even if maybe it goes nowhere on social media and I lose money doing it and whatever. But if I can come home and say, look, I just played 48 shows. Actually 49, because I'm going to stop in Canada too. I just played 49 shows, at least, probably more. And I've improved, and I've made it across the country, and I've accomplished this goal that I set for myself. So even if it doesn't gain any other traction, or even if I lose money on it, like, I'm going to come home saying, look, I succeeded. I made it. I did it. And that's kind of proved to me that I think I can do anything if I can do this.
That's cool, man. And one thing I would recommend, and that we started this a long time ago, me and the wifey, because we traveled a lot for what we did, and I still travel a decent amount. We buy shot glasses in every new state/city we're in. If I were you, I'd try to get a memento for every city that you're in. I know you don't have a lot of money, but even if it's like a bottle cap from like a local beer company, or you drink a beer that's locally brewed or something, and you keep the bottle or something cool. So this way, when you come home, you could kind of build something up, and you have like a visual memory. You can say, hey, I got this from Oregon. Hey, I got this from Philly. Hey, I got this from Alabama. Maybe it's a guitar pick from someone else that's playing at a show, or just something. I would do that. And I think that would be pretty cool from a memory perspective for you when you get older.
Well, I was joking with my girlfriend because I just turned 21 2 weeks ago, and so I said, I guess now it's time for me to start collecting shot glasses. So maybe I will do the shot glasses.
Dude, I have so many fucking shots. There's so many, but it's cool. You could buy there's like a cabinet that you could buy, and people do that, and you could put a shot glass for every city, and they always have like touristy little places a knick-knack store. And shot glasses, as long as you're not in the airport, shot glasses are $4 or $5.
Yeah.
So it's not much, but it would give you a memory, and then you go like, hey, I got this from here when I went to this city, and it's cool. But I would do that.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
I bet you you'll be happy if you have like little mementos from places.
Yeah.
The shot glasses are cool. I like being able
And
to
then
take a
you
shot.
get each one has a little story to tell along with it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, man, we're hitting the hour mark. It was a pleasure having you on, dude. You're an inspiration for a lot of independent music people. I love promoting that stuff. So you tell me anytime you're doing something, man. I'll try to promote you. I'll listen to some stuff, help you with the number side of things, and I'll definitely follow your socials because I'll be interested to see you make it through alive.
Yeah.
If you're coming up through Pennsylvania, just don't go to Kensington. Stay away from Camden and Jersey. You'll be all right.
All right.
Don't go to those places. If they're cheap and people want you to come there, there's a reason. there's a reason. So,
All right. Good to know.
But yeah, plug yourself, dude. Where can we find all your content, your socials, your music?
Yeah, Instagram, it's just my name, Levi Coovert. And then same thing on TikTok, Levi Coovert. On YouTube, it's Levi Coov without the RT, but pretty. If you look up Levi Coovert, you'll find me there too. So yeah, I've tried to make it as simple as possible to kind of find me. You can find some music on Apple Music, Spotify. I think it's on like Amazon Music, wherever you listen to music, it's probably there. So yeah, and we'll have more music coming out soon. I'm gonna try to put out hopefully at least a couple more singles before I leave on the tour. So we'll have a little bit more music coming out, and it should be really, really fun time. Really, I'm just excited to see where it goes and see where this takes me.
Awesome, dude. Well, look, Drink Clock Pod on all socials, Drink Clock Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, and I'll be tuning into this as well.
Oh, good, man. You'll have to hit me up when you're live and you're out and about because I'll have to see how you're doing and make sure you're still kicking. And if you need some drinking advice, I do have 20 years on you. So, well, not quite 20, more like 18 or 19, but I can help you out. You let me know. I'll hook you up, brother. Okay, I won't point you in the wrong direction, all right?
Awesome. What's your favorite?
Well, look, I'm a Captain Morgan guy. So I
Okay.
like Captain and Diet Coke. That's, I'm part Puerto Rican, and I feel like the dark rum is kind of just in my blood. The wifey's a Tito's because she's Ukrainian, so she can drink vodka like it's water. It's like it's in their DNA,
Yeah.
Don't fall for all the IPAs and all the other bullshit. Okay, you gotta just drink what you enjoy. I drink light beer. My friends have been making fun of me for 20 years for it. I don't give a shit. Because you can have 2 or 3 light beers and you could chill. You're not going to get drunk. Maybe you'll catch a buzz, right? Especially you're young, so you're new to drinking. So 2 or 3 light beers, you're chill. But if you have like one of those, you have 2 10% IPAs, that shit fucks you up. And you get a horrible hangover. I'm cool, man. I'll drink a couple, Millers, couple Bud Lights. I'm chilling. That's all I need in life. I don't need to get wasted, Been there, done that. But look, it was a pleasure, man. Let's do this again. Maybe after you come back, and we'll see where you're at.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I had a pleasure.
Awesome, man. It was a lot of fun, and have a great night.
You too, man. Have a great one.
On a stormy night where legends unfold, there's a podcast that's breaking the mold. Raise your voices, raise your glass high. Welcome to the Drink O'Clock Podcast. Let's dive. Oh, grab an old fashioned and join the fray. Raise your spirits, let the music play. From the corner pub to the dance hall floor. Drink O'Clock Podcast, we're ready for more. We're ready for more. With a mix of folklore and rebel cheer, we'll guide you through tales of whiskey and beer. From Irish shores to lands afar, grab your friends, it's time to raise the bar.